This playthrough is rated M for mature.
Greetings and salutations, viewers. Vauldemare back here with another episode of Call of Cthulhu. In the last episode, we finally escaped the Riverside Institute by blowing up the gas inside and causing a distraction to leave. We were able to confront Sanders about what he knew, and apparently Sarah Hawkins may have been the curse so she might not have been the, well, at least according to that guy, may have not been the free flower or victim as we thought, but I don't know. There's just a lot of things, and with that gas, we're not sure who we are. Bradley's alive, even though we thought he died.
No. I want to know what Bradley and Dr. Colden have to say about all this.
Well, yeah, I guess I was just seeing if there's anything to click. All right, let's talk to our companions and see if we can put our heads together. But I'm watching you, Bradley. I saw your body get flipped around all over the place. I don't trust dead bodies. Not since the last time. Huh, that one picture's gone. Maybe, is it all in my head?
Awake, Mr. Pierce. How do you feel?
Did I sleep long?
The day is only starting. It's fine.
I guess we can talk to them to get started on whatever the conversation's going to be like. I assume there's really nothing to...
No. I want to know what Bradley and Dr. Colden have to say about all this.
Are you sure you just don't want to leave and... Ooh, alcohol. Yes, please. Oh, that's the good stuff. That'll help me go through all this. So I've drinking twice, and it said it affect my destiny. For good or for ill, I guess we'll know by the end of the game. Whenever that is. I don't know how close we are to finishing. We've definitely hit some major points, but I think we've hit maybe the halfway point of the game. It feels like a halfway point, but... Alright. Hey, dead man.
How's our fugitive? Dr. Fuller hasn't reported your disappearance to the force, but that'll come soon.
Bradley?
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
There are things I can't explain.
Tell us. What happened?
Well, I saw him die. Oh, we don't have enough cult to tell him about her being an object of the cult. So it probably would have been just a case of putting enough points into it. Or maybe I just didn't find the right clue. I don't know. It's hard to say. Let's see. We can't choose that one. I might be on to lead. Talk to Colden. Talk to Bradley. What they had me endure. Yeah, I want to know about... Ask about... Let me talk to Bradley. Let's see. You should be dead. I don't have enough medical for that, though. That's weird. Come back. Oh, I guess it goes back to the main menu. You and Dr. Cullen. See what Charles is alive. Well, let's go with the unlocked answer first. I found this.
I found a Darkwater PD badge. Lost a colleague recently?
What the...
Bradley.
Ethan?
I'm all right. I just had a... It's gone.
You're sure?
If it's important, it'll come back. But I can't explain why Dr. Fuller would have that badge.
The man's a danger, believe me.
What can we do, Pierce?
Well, I can't. Yeah, it kind of sucks I have a few options I can't choose from, but that's the nature of the beast, I guess. You did see Charles was alive.
What I'm sure of now is that the Hawkins case isn't just an accident.
And what brings you to that conclusion?
The fact that Charles Hawkins survived the fire.
I don't understand. Mr. Hawkins was buried.
That's what he would have you believe.
I have a hard time believing you.
You were there, Bradley. You even opened fire on him.
I'd remember that.
Why would he fake his own death? Do you think he covered up his wife's murder?
That's possible.
It seems hard to swallow. Don't you have anything more concrete, Pierce?
Ooh, here we go. You and Dr. Colden. Okay. Your memory seems to be failing you.
Bradley, what do you remember?
I don't understand your question.
The night we went into the Hawkins mansion. You don't seem to remember the tunnels and what occurred there.
No memory of going down any tunnel. No, we were in the manor, then,
Then what?
The rest is quite blurry. I don't recall how I came back home.
And then?
I went to visit you at the hospital and called on Marie's help to get you released.
And you don't remember the events of the tunnel?
I don't. Let's talk about something else.
I wonder. Well, like I said, we can't click on that. Yeah, it doesn't let us do anything. You and Dr. Colden. Ooh, oh, that's... Oh, I didn't even notice that was a brain thing. Well, let's see if we can get our psychology kick in, if we have enough percentage to work, but we'll see.
I heard you talking earlier.
Why am I not surprised?
I get the impression you two don't get along.
Intrusive and not very clever. Anyway, let's get back to the business at hand.
I don't even know if that succeeded or not. Anyway, let's go back to the main conversation. We talked to Colt. Did she just skip out of her chair? Whoa, man, that's the real Cthulhu. Let's see, we've got investigation, unlocked, and I saw... Okay, let's go with the unlocked first. Sarah Hawkins was committed.
I found a file bearing Sarah Hawkins' name in the Institute's basement.
It makes sense. A powerful family like the Hawkins had the means to hide such a disgrace.
But everyone knows the Fullers have been taking care of the Hawkins for at least a generation. And all were aware of Mrs. Hawkins' fragility.
Perhaps, but no one would allow a psychiatric internment.
From what I read in the file, Fuller used her as a subject of his experiments.
Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins, subjects of Dr. Fuller. Why those two?
I don't know. I guess we need some more clues to figure that out. Let's go with the hard investigation. Did Fuller found Riverside?
Given the energy he pours into Riverside, I presume it was Fuller's creation.
His father's, to be correct. He was a surgeon on board the Scylla. He founded the hospital in 1904 with funds from the Hawkins family before he died and his son Thomas Fuller took over.
Two families inextricably linked.
Most island families are that way. Captain Fitzroy's father was also a seaman aboard the Scylla.
Powerful families dominating everything.
Yes, and as you could tell, Dr. Fuller is like some crazed emperor.
He wouldn't be happy if he knew we were snooping around.
I know the risks. I don't fear him. Do you wish to know anything else?
Well, I mean, unless he comes at you with a gun or stabs you, then you'd be afraid of him. No, but yeah, all these families and all the ties, you know, the Fuller surgeon on the Scylla, the captain on the Scylla, Hawkins on the Scylla. I wonder. I saw dead bodies.
Dr. Fuller seems to be leaving a trail of corpses. Not to mention those strange machines, chains, and tools of all kind.
Yes. I've been telling you that Fuller uses his patients as guinea pigs.
What I saw was more akin to torture than medicine.
Do you even hear what you're saying? Dr. Fuller is highly respected.
It's the truth, Ethan. And I'll prove it to you. I'm listening, Mr. Pierce.
Well, I've got nothing else to say about that, even though we talked about that. All right, let's go back to the... All right, well, I don't think there's any new... Nope, no new conversation, so... I can't choose the occult thing. What they had me endure.
I have flashbacks. They haunt me.
What did they do to you?
There was that Dr. Fuller. And a nurse. Blood. Everywhere. My legs. The pain. I couldn't bear it. I was screaming. They injected me with something. I woke up at the Institute. Bradley was there.
And how you scared us. You seemed... demented.
You likely woke up during the anesthesia. No wonder those memories haunt you. What in God's name were they doing to you?
What happened afterwards?
When I woke up the second time, I was in a padded cell. That's where you found me, Doctor. After you released me, I got a good look at what's in store for the patients of the Riverside Institute. Hallucinogenic gas pumped into the cells. An infernal machine. Horrific medical experiments.
Impossible. Dr. Fuller would never do such a thing.
You should believe it, Ethan. What Mr. Pierce saw is precisely what I've been trying to prove. Did you discover anything else?
I guess not. Well, other than the... Nope, no new things. Just double checking. Okay, let's finish this conversation. I might be onto the lead.
I met a Francis Sanders. Do you know him?
Of course, he's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the basement.
He knew Sarah Hawkins, and that's what killed him.
What? How did he die?
I'm not sure I can explain it.
Tell me how Mr. Sanders died.
Let's see. We called him the Shambler, a sort of crisis. Do we want to believe what our eyes saw, or do we want to? Yeah, let's go with what we thought we saw. He called him the Shambler.
I didn't see what, but something was there, with us.
Of what do you speak?
Sanders said it was Sarah Hawkins' visitor. He spoke of it like a living being.
Sarah Hawkins? Have I missed something here? This makes no sense. I don't see how it can help crack the Hawkins case.
You really think she's involved? How could she have murdered Mr. Sanders?
Francis Sanders mentioned Mrs. Hawkins just before dying. It's no coincidence.
You know, Francis Sanders was a well-known art collector. I guess you can still pay a visit to his wife, Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you say? That's probably how they met.
If you plan on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
I don't agree. She deserves the truth.
But that truth may be biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
Let's stay prudent. Better to confront the truth. Yeah, I mean, we've gotten ourselves into it. We're exploring every single avenue, which means I'm trying to find the truth. I'm Persona 4ing it, dang it. Better to confront the truth.
He's right. We can't ignore the truth.
But it could drive her mad.
Better madness than ignorance. Very well. I'll go to see Francis's widow. Perhaps I'll find a link between her husband's death and Sarah Hawkins.
Don't end up in the hospital this time.
I'll do my best.
Alright, looks like we need to head towards the Sanders estate, I guess, and tell her what happened. Obviously, she's going to think we're crazy, and maybe we are to an extent. The Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close. It's undeniable. The widow didn't tell me everything, but her house speaks for everything. Everything begins with Francis Sanders. How do I know this already? We haven't even talked to her yet. It even says that we've talked to her already. Okay, well, I'll read it anyway. The Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close. It's undeniable. The widow didn't tell me everything, but her house speaks for her. Everything began with Francis Sanders' obsession with the Shambler, an exceptional painting in more ways than one. In theory, Francis Sanders was a renowned art collector. I must question his widow, Irene Sanders, to know more about his links with Sarah Hawkins and discover the identity of the visitor he talked about before he died. Sounds like an issue with, like, programming certain clues to unlock or in what order or whatever it seems like, but whatever. Alright, let's look at Fuller. You'd think we would have had his thing earlier, but... Dr. Fuller, age 52. Occupation, Riverside Senior Physician. Dr. Fuller reigns as the undisputed master of the Riverside Institute and of its cellars, in which he carries out illegal experiments on his patients. I don't know what he has done to me, but I shouldn't be back on my feet so soon after my fall with the tunnels under the Hawkins mansion caved in. It is dangerous, and I'd swear that he knows more about all this business than he's willing to tell. Alright. Oh, whoops. Okay, nothing else right now. Can we ask them about anything else before we go?
Let us go now and learn the truth about what's happening on this island.
What about you, sir?
The other night's events are still confused in my head.
Well, I saw you die, so, you know. Alright, I guess there's probably nothing else to explore in here. I assume this is just an open area for that, so we could probably take either door. Actually, would going upstairs do anything, or would either way lead me to the next step? Oh yeah, it just says leave, so it doesn't really matter. Alright, time to go to the Sanders estate and see what clues we can find from that. The Sanders residence, Chapter 6. Pierce, Colden, and Bradley decide to team up to solve the Sarah Hawkins case. They have a new trail to follow. Francis Sanders, an art collector and a friend of the painter who died right in front of Pierce. The detective goes to his house in order to speak to his widow about the shambler that the unfortunate man mentioned before he died. What evidence will we find here? We're kind of in that middle stage where a lot of crap has happened. The shit's gone down in a few places, but now we're not sure if we saw everything for real or not. So now we're back into investigation mode until the next major scene or occurrence occurs. I've played games like these before. I know the patterns. But that's fine. It's like a standard mystery, except with, evil Cthulhian horrors, and such like that. Although we've heard the name Cthulhu, but we don't even attune it to a thing, Enter the madness.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders, I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may. However, before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Well, well, look who's here. You know each other?
We met briefly. Time enough to iron out a few matters. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, Detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker. This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me. May I inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday, I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
Well, let's say a lot of shit happened, lady. And yeah, the fact that Kat's here and in that man's office is interesting indeed. I wonder if she has some ties to the bootleggers in the professional sense or not. It's interesting to say, but I don't like the fact that that lady's here. No amount of trouble will come from that. Let's see. He died screaming right before my eyes. I was no longer there when it happened. You're talking it quite well. You must not. Well, let's try to be professional / psychology. See if we can get that to kick in. You must not feel guilty.
What happened to your husband is terrible, Mrs. Sanders. But from what I saw, it was inevitable. The man I met yesterday had lost his reason. He suffers no longer, if you would allow me such a platitude.
Of course. Thank you for your kind words. Nobody in that hospital would have deigned to speak them to me. However, it will require more than that to soothe my mind. I need to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute? And right before your eyes. Did you not do anything to help him?
Yeah, nothing I can really do. He was just kind of picked up and just like thrown around like a rag doll by some like invisible force. It wasn't me who sent him there. The true culprit is Fuller. I share your grief, but I had nothing to do with it. Let's see if we can get elegance to work. It's about 50-50.
Mrs. Sanders, I understand your grief, and I extend my deepest condolences to you. But I had nothing to do with the death of your husband. I've just arrived on Darkwater. I'm investigating the death of the Hawkins family.
The death of the Hawkins family? You mean it was not an accident? This accursed island knows only tragedy after tragedy. You, too, would be advised to flee it like the plague. Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
Well, I guess it makes sense that she wouldn't want us to stay any longer than necessary. And technically, we didn't tell her the truth about what happened. We had to. So we kind of lied to Bradley about our mentality about things. What's Kat doing here? What do you know about Sarah Hawkins? Did he speak to you of a shambler?
Did your husband talk to you about Sarah Hawkins' visitor? A shambler, to use his precise terms.
Well, you can imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it, I would urge you to make the most of your visit. Because I count on ridding myself of that thing as soon as I can.
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long.
I wonder if the unlocked dialogue automatically cuts the dialogue about asking about Kat and Sarah Hawkins, but oh well. Well, like I said, I haven't played the game before, so I don't know what decisions cause what, so can we play the piano? She probably says, like, stop that. I'm like, oh, sorry. I'm a detective. I've got to touch everything. Ooh, what's this?
Did she really care for him after all?
Letter of refusal. Well, I mean, she sounds sad, but, you know, it's... Well, then again, maybe they've, because of him being interned, you know, kind of lost that love after a while. It's hard to say. But anyway, let's see what the picture says. Dear Madam, I acknowledge receipt of the letter in which you demand the body of your deceased husband. I'm sorry to inform you that I cannot agree to return his body to you. At the moment of his internment, you signed a discharge allowing me to dispose of his body as I see fit. I extend my deepest condolences to you, Thomas Fuller. Oof. Just like, hey, you can't have it, sorry. Oh, is there any dialogue option with her? Nope. She's just kind of stumbling around and stuff like that, so. Alright, well, if we need to get any further into this, we'll need to see this picture of the shambler that Sanders was so set on that affected him so badly. What will we find of the shambler? Why is Kat here? And can we get a really good drink around here to settle our nerves? Find out next time in the next episode of Call of Cthulhu. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.